Welcome to Life Mastery Radio with Todd Allen and Jackie Bailey, the show that dives into the science of higher consciousness with inspiring topics such as abundance, intention, health, manifestation, love, and transformation. Join Todd, Jackie, and their guests of leading authors, speakers, coaches, and entrepreneurs weekly at 10 a.m. Pacific. Learn to live a peaceful life with intentional mastery. It's all right here with stories and messages to support your well-being and most evocative dreams. Now, here's your hosts, Todd and Jackie.
Hey, it's another groovy day, and there's a couple of reasons for that. It's Life Mastery Radio Day, the talk show that brings you great thoughts and ideas for you to use on your very own life mastery journey. It's also groovy because I made it that way, and our guest today turned me on to a new deal. If I wake up, it's automatically a groovy day. I don't have to consciously think about it anymore. So that's what I do, and it works for me. It can work for you too. It's amazing how I can go through my day. Everything kind of cruises. Something might happen, something might change, but I always think back. I started out to be groovy. Might have to pause for a second and think about things, but it always works out. And that's the way I start my day. You should do it too. As always, I have my smiley co-host, my smiley Blinky. She's blinking a lot, almost like she would have.
I know, my eyes are dry. Sorry.
I think it's where we live, Sunshine. I think it's where
must be.
My co-host Jackie Bailey is with us today. Her and I, we put on a show every week just for you. We have a blast. She writes a blog post. I load it up into YouTube. It's kind of a team effort, and we share some amazing people that are on the cutting edge of their own becoming, and they want to shove you off that edge too. So stay tuned, because we're going to have a really cool time. We have a really cool guy on today. But first, let's hear from Jackie. Any updates, Jackie, with the Speak Feed Lead project?
Of course, there's always updates, but I wanted to make one comment about when you wake up and you're already having a great day. You might remember Natalie Ekabo, who was a guest of ours, I don't know, a couple of months ago or so. She and I had a conversation after the show, and she was telling me that when she starts to feel a little bit like down or disappointed in something, she says, I will react differently than I normally do. She goes, so Jackie, when you're feeling down, do something different than you might normally do. Because if you're feeling down, you might like go curl up in a ball and maybe put on a rom-com movie or something like that. But instead, I started dancing. So I've been dancing a lot lately because it's just a different reaction when I'm feeling down. And you can't feel bad and dance at the same time. So.
That's automatic for you, because all you have to do is turn on the radio, right?
Turn on some music,
and you're automatically. That's the way Jackie is. My youngest kid is that way too. She hears music and she just has to wiggle. I mean,
so that's my advice to you. Do something different than what you normally do when you're starting to feel down or disappointed in life.
There's something else you can do too, and that is call a friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Call a friend and just have a normal discussion. And you know what? Your problems will just melt away. And guess what? 9 times out of 10, your friend might be having a problem too that you might be able to help them with.
Right.
And give them some insight.
Connection is good.
That's
well, the Speak Feed Lead project, we're doing great. We've got classes beginning. We're looking forward to some open mic nights that we're going to be starting here soon to get the kids through the holidays. Instead of going cold turkey without classes from us, we're going to do some open mics during that time. So that'll be fun. They can tune in, do some improvisation, do some impromptu speaking, private coaching, whatever they want to do while they're there for an hour. We'll work with them. And then 2023 is going to be a great year. We've got lots of things coming up and opportunities ahead. So we are just so delighted to have our kids out there on podcasts and on summits, and they're speaking. And
worldwide summits.
Yeah, they're just doing amazing things, and
speaking to audiences that are just humongous. I mean, you get. Yep. Can you imagine being a 10-year-old kid and with the technology today, talking to people all over the world? I couldn't even begin to fathom that as a kid, but today it's real. It's a real deal.
I know. Well, and we're going to take a group of kids with us to LA in March to speak live on a stage with 25,000 people watching them. So we're really excited about that opportunity.
When is that?
It's March 3rd through 5th. Do you remember Bernardo Moya? He was a guest of ours several months ago. He's doing the Best You Expo in LA. And so we're going to take a group of
Oh yeah, the Best You. That was a big deal. And then it got shut down for COVID. And he was really, that was amazing. And now
he's in Spain, and he was going to do an event in Miami back in November. No, it was October. And he couldn't get out of Spain to get to his own event because of COVID restrictions. So he ended up having a virtual format. Yeah, it turned out just as well. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, keep us posted. Like I always ask every week, join us here live every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific, Life Mastery Radio. Mark your calendars, tell a friend, do everything. Our website is at www.lifemasteryradio.net, and any links that we talk about on today's show page is there, and it will take you to wherever you want to go so you can explore it yourself. What else is there, Jackie? Oh, our books. My book is there. You can follow the link, 6 Keys to Life Mastery, and it takes you to Amazon. You'll love it. It's a quick read. It's just things that I discovered through different avenues. And I thought, I should write a book about these things for the younger generation. They need to at least plant some seeds for them. It's a really good read. Jackie has a book there. You can see it behind her, Self-Centered Leadership.
Yes,
and she's in a couple of other books.
I still don't have a hard copy of my No Problem Parenting book, but I'm going to have one soon so I can hold it up.
All that's on our webpage, so you can check us out, or you can Google Jackie Bailey. She'll come up. She'll take over the entire Google page.
Kind of everywhere. Yeah.
Well, okay, I think we're done cleaning the house, and let's see. Our guest today is Jackie's guest. So guess what that means? Jackie's got the intro. Take it away, Jackie.
I do. And I'm delighted because as a nonprofit, I was connected with our guest today. We've had great conversation, and I'm very happy that he's a guest on the show today. So we're going to hear from Joe Mogaizel. He's
always good, Mr. Always Good.
Mr. Always Good. He loves helping people solve problems and have more happiness. He has spent time in the sales profession and believes sales is life. He is the CEO of Nonprofit Accelerators, which has a mission to positively impact 1 billion lives by delivering the VIP experience to nonprofits. Delighted to have someone doing that. He is an international best-selling author, speaker, mentor, and entrepreneur. People ask how he got the name Mr. Always Good, and he says, by always striving to do good, no matter what comes my way. Okay. His book is titled Be a Success Maverick, Volume 4, How Ordinary People Do It Different to Achieve Extraordinary Results. Please welcome Mr. Joe, Mr. Always Good, Moghaizel to Life Mastery Radio. It's wonderful to have you here, Joe.
Oh, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. I absolutely love being around people who are doing good on the planet, and both of you are absolutely doing that. So thank you. And I'm grateful to anybody who's listening to take the time out of their day to spend a few moments with us.
I was listening to some podcasts that you've done with some other hosts, and I'm glad you're on our show today. But anyway, I heard you say, and this is a key concept, is sweep away all the negativity in your world, right? And that's a hard thing to do, isn't it? Maybe you could highlight some of that for us on how you. I mean, everywhere we go, it seems like we're exposed to this, but you must, and I do it too. I just look the other way. Oh, gotta go. I gotta go.
That's a great point you bring up, Todd. And yeah, look, negativity is all around us, right? It is. If you're looking for it, you will find it.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for the good things, right, you'll find those too. But that's the other reason why, like, for everyone who can see my name is spelled ALL when it's Mr. Always Good. It's not just basically always good. No, it's always that move you forward are good. And it can be the most painful moment in your life. But if you look for the positive in it, you look for the lesson. What is it helping to teach you? What's it helping you get rid of? What's it helping you become? You can make that the biggest source of strength in your life, which is really where Mr. Always Good came from when I lost my dad, when he passed away.
I wouldn't wish that on anybody. I lost my dad. I know I heard your story, and that was tough, man. That was tough.
Yeah,
Tell us about
it
it,
was,
Joe. Tell us
but I'm
about your
grateful
dad.
for it now because I wouldn't be me without it.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell us why that was such a influencing part of your life, losing your dad.
Well, I was 20 years old when it happened, and I had been really successful in my first sales job, and I decided I wanted to do something really big for my dad for his birthday, and so we sent him to Lebanon to go visit his family. I brought it up to my mom and my sister, and I paid for half the flight. They paid for the other half, and there was this whole thing I went through of blaming myself that he had a blood clot because long international flights can cause blood clots and all these other things. And so I'm like, was it my fault? And so I went through a spiral. And when I came out of it and realized that every moment after that moment was I could still be proud of something, that there was something that was good that came from it. Even the healing that happened in his family, people that stopped arguing with each other, that got brought back together. And it was just something that I was like, you know what? From now on, if you ask me how I am, my answer is going to be always good. And eventually a gas station attendant gave me that nickname when I walked in after about 6 months of doing it every single day on my way to work, to get my morning monsters. And he's like, I'm not asking you how you are. You're Mr. Always Good. And I was like, oh, I really like that. And so it stuck. And then eventually I added the extra L to it because I realized that there was more behind it.
Yeah, always.
Yeah. So did your father pass away in Lebanon?
Yes. He had a heart attack. And when you pass away in a foreign country as an American citizen, you are forced to have an autopsy done. So we knew exactly what the cause was, which was a blood clot and all that stuff. And it took 22 days to get his body home.
Oh God.
But I mean, he was buried in a casket from Lebanon. They got to have a funeral for him there too. So just a lot of things came from a very tragic moment. And now is really like I find it to be one of the biggest sources of strength that I have in my life because it helped me see things in a totally different perspective.
And he's always in your heart too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. My dad called me up and he said, you got to come over. And he told me, he said, the doctors tell me I'm a walking time bomb. And Joe, like you, I wasn't going to buy into that. I just like, yeah, that's not true. That can't be the deal. And 2 weeks later, he was gone. And we really never had those, those discussions. And it was, but like you, my life changed totally after that. I had to hit rock bottom, right? I had to skin my knees and my chin first, and then I could stand up and move forward. So that it almost, isn't it kind of sad? I don't know that I want to say sad, but it's almost like we have to hit a bottom before we climb out. And I don't think that's true, but it seems like that's the path everybody ends up on.
Well, if you think of every mountain, right? Like, so every time you're trying to reach a new summit in life, right? You're climbing a mountain.
Right.
But if you're like me, you climb one mountain and you look over and you're like, wait a minute, I want to climb that mountain. But in order to do that, I have to climb down the mountain I'm on and then start from the ground again and reclimb. And a lot of times I think that we don't realize how relative mountaineering is to life, because when we go from one success and we're like, oh, I'm going to go to a whole brand new arena, and we think, well, all my past success should just come with me in here, and I don't have to start at the ground. I can start 4 levels up. No, you have to build from the ground up every time. And every mountain you climb in life, you're climbing from the ground up, and then you got to climb back down to go climb another one.
That's a great analogy. I like that.
Well, and that climb is not consistent in the way that you feel from moment to moment. I mean, you might feel exhilarated in some moments, and in other moments you're very weak and tired, and you've got to rest. And then as you get closer and closer to reaching the goal of that summit, the exhilaration comes back, right? So that is a great analogy to life. And I think what I'm hearing you say in not so many words is that regret really has no place. We cannot feel happy or as happy as possible when we have these regrets or these thoughts in our head that, oh my gosh, that was partly my fault, or I shouldn't have done that, or, I am to blame for this kind of thing. And all of that regret does not do anything positive for us. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
That's a great way of saying it, Jackie, because you're right. Regret itself isn't necessarily the moment you feel it a bad thing, right? It's there to help teach you something. And so if you take that and go, oh, I could have done this differently or that differently, and next time I will, and then you forgive yourself, because that's the key, then you don't hold on to it. But when you hold on to that regret, and it becomes this thing that defines you in some way, you're eliminating a lot of things in your life that could be, and you're definitely stifling the amount of happiness you could have.
Yeah. Well, and I'm certain that the people on the other side, like your dad and Todd's dad and my father, I was 25 when my father passed away. And I didn't go see him 2 days before he passed away. I tried to, but he wasn't home and I didn't get back. And then he died suddenly. So I have those regrets, like, I should have gone back. But if we really think about their mindset, they don't hold grudges toward us because we weren't there, or because we sent them to Lebanon, or because, other reasons. So they let go of it. And so it's the task is on us to let go of it as well. Right.
Oh yeah. I mean, even just that, but I'm sure, Jackie, the lesson that you learn from that is to take every opportunity you can.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the thing, like, you can learn that from it and be grateful that you had to learn it in the hardest way. Or you cannot be like just being grateful for every emotion you feel is powerful.
Mm.
But then there's the other part of that too, Joe, and it's just what we've been doing here is sharing that experience for others to learn from. Right? That's a powerful, speaking that voice and sharing those stories or consulting with others. I mean, and you may not solve their problem, but at least you plant a seed that helps them resolve it themselves.
Absolutely. I really believe that, like, really, I never solve anybody else's problems that way. What you just said, Todd, is so accurate. You plant a seed, and it's up to them to then go and do the work that needs to be done to make it happen. And once they can resolve it for themselves, the power that they get from not giving you the credit is astronomically different than if they're like, oh, you did it for me. No, I just helped you shift your focus or your mindset. And from there, you did it, not me. I don't want to get credit for that.
Right.
Well, it's almost like we sometimes have a hard time giving ourselves permission to get over it. But when someone else gives us that permission, now, all right, we can do that. It's like I had a friend years ago who was dying of cancer, and she kept feeling like her husband wasn't going to be able to do this. He wasn't be able to grieve without her there. He'd never really been without her for 50 years of marriage. And finally, someone had to say to her, it's okay. He's going to be fine. He's going to be fine, and you're going to be fine, and we're going to be here missing you, but we'll be fine as well. And it was giving her that permission that allowed her to actually go peacefully. Wow. And I think we're like that too, is that we kind of hold on to this. We don't want to. Sometimes we get addicted to the bad feeling because we're so used to feeling it. It becomes a part of us that we have to give ourselves permission to just let that go. But if that's too hard, then having someone else give us permission to let it go may be necessary. So today, folks, we're giving you permission to let go of anything that you're holding on to, that you're blaming yourself for, that you regret. It's all right. It's served a purpose. You've learned something. Now make different decisions, and it's all going to be good. Always good.
What a great message.
Let's kick around something else. Joe, what do you want to kick around? How about purpose? Many people come to me, or I've heard people come to me and say, gosh, I just don't know what my purpose is. How do you find a purpose? What do you tell people like that?
First off, try as many things as you can. If you think it's something that you want to do, or you think that there's a reason you're being called to it, just give it a go. and give it everything you can. And then from there, if it doesn't work, it's not the thing that feeds your soul, do something else. And keep doing that until you find that thing that feeds your soul. But so many people think like, oh, I have to know it all in advance. No, you don't. And the other part is like when people say purpose, or you hear some people say, well, what's your why? What's the why behind doing what you do? Now, that only needs to be something that is meaningful to you. Your why doesn't need to motivate me. It needs to motivate you. And if somebody tries to say, well, your why is selfish, or your why is crazy, or your why is childish, whatever, that's okay. It doesn't matter. It's your why, your purpose, your why. Those things are so important to you that it doesn't matter if you ever actually tell somebody what that is. As long as you know deep inside that it's feeding you, it just needs to do that. And you'll find your purpose by doing things. But also, like, think about it this way. You have a thought to do something. You have a thought that you want something. I believe it was given to you because it's yours. It's meant to be yours. So just do it. Like, just that's all you can do.
Try for it and put yourself in the flow, and something else pops up, right? You got to take some action.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so because you work with nonprofits, it seems to me then that you would be able to hobnob with some of these people who figure out their why, to figure out their purpose, and they start a nonprofit in order to fulfill a mission. So how wonderful has that been for you? I mean, what has that meant for you to be able to help people to in some way fulfill those missions? I'm assuming that's what you're doing, right?
I mean, yeah, absolutely, Jackie. And it's kind of one of those things, like, again, like figuring out what the purpose is, right? So I started off as an entrepreneur, sales consulting with small businesses. And I love teaching sales. I really do. Like I said, I believe it is life. I believe it is the one skill that if you learn to love and embrace and master, will help you in every aspect of your life done the right way. Or the I can't say right way. There's multiple ways to sell, but I believe like the ethical way, the way that comes from the heart, changes it into a different conversation. And then eventually I realized that I really wanted to work with nonprofits because I saw that they were businesses, and yet they were run by such heart-led people that didn't have the drive for the asking for money or to the running it like a business. And I'm like, if I could help them embrace that part of it, what would that do for them? But then, you ever have that moment when you're like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And you're like, yeah, but how am I going to do that?
Yeah, I have that moment every day.
So I sat on it for like a year and a half and just kept working with my clients and getting small business owners. And eventually I realized that I needed to set that down entirely because I knew what I could do with nonprofits. But I had the opportunity to speak on a stage randomly. I went to one event. While I was there, I met a gentleman who invited me to his event, and I had to get a flight rearranged and hotels rearranged. And I only had enough clothes for the one event I went to. So now I'm there for 3 days longer. But while I'm there, I just simply bought a table for a charity event that for someone who was speaking on stage. And because of that, I get called up on stage. And when they got to me and asked me what I really, like who I am, what I do, and what my ask was of the room, well, I told them who I am as Mr. Always Good, told them about my philosophy of sales. But then I said, what I really want to do is help nonprofits. And I had 10 appointments before I walked out of that room. And it's because I had the opportunity to tell the universe and to put it out there that it came to me completely. Wow. And so I work with nonprofits directly, but I also work with business owners who have that philanthropic side and really want to leave a legacy beyond their business and do more and give more to the charities they care about. But they don't know necessarily how to do it, but I can help them start a nonprofit to then work through all the other things I do with nonprofits so that they can leave a real legacy for their family with the nonprofit and the good it does, but at the same time grow their business.
Yeah, nonprofits are kind of a special breed because the people that want to help people. I think I saw a podcast. You have 3 questions that you ask somebody when they come to you. Do you, or is that something that's on top of mind that people are considering having a business or a nonprofit, and you ask them 3 things? Is it, how important is it to them? Are they going to make a difference in people's lives?
I mean, I don't know if I ask the exact same 3 questions every time, but I do know this much. I tell everybody, like business owners, I'm like, look, if you actually want to do something good, you want to leave a legacy, you want to do good on this planet, then we can talk. Right? If you want to help other nonprofits and other charities achieve their goals and dreams too, then we can talk. If not, please tell me now, because I don't want to do business with you.
Right.
I think the other one was if you're all about money.
Yeah. If it's all about the money, don't just sorry. Because one of the things that we do is we help nonprofits access the Google ad grant, which gives them $10,000 per month, every month, in free Google AdWords.
Yeah, I was astounded when I heard you say that. That's pretty amazing. I didn't realize Google did that.
I think it's amazing that they do it, because nonprofits need the help that way. And Jackie, you understand with Speak, Feed, Lead, it's not easy to get people into your ecosystem so that they can then give the amazing work that you do. And how hard is it to get the name spread as big as you want it to be? Well, I love that Google's willing to say, well, we want to help nonprofits do this. I mean, they have a goal of giving away $1 billion a year in free Google AdWords to nonprofits.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is. And it's helpful. You got to have someone managing that account for you.
That's the other side of it.
Because otherwise, it just sits there. I've been there, done that.
Yeah.
We've had that grant for 3 years now. And it's had mixed reviews because I don't know how to manage it. And so we've had several people manage it from time to time. And so anyway, of course, with Google grants or with Google AdWords and things, it takes a while to sort of ramp up to a point where you're starting to see the traffic coming in and the results of everything you're putting into it. So
consistency, right?
Yeah. So let's talk about sales for a minute, because when you say sales, I get this image of this sort of greasy salesperson who's really all about just manipulating you into thinking that you need something that maybe you don't, right? That's kind of been my experience. I know it's wrong. I know my mindset about that is all wrong, but it makes it hard or difficult for me to think of myself as a salesperson, which I know I am. In fact, when I was coaching dental practices, I would say things like that, like, you have to sell your business. You have to sell your experience and your clinical skill and that kind of thing. But so what do you tell people about sales that might break the bubble and get them out of the thinking of, oh, it's kind of sleazy. Sales is sleazy. How can you paint a different picture about sales for the average person?
This is one of my favorite things to really talk about, because Jackie, what you just said is what everybody feels. Right? They think, oh no, here comes this, for lack of a better term, con man.
Right.
Because that's what you say, what you described to me is not a salesperson. They're not a professional salesperson. Right? They're a con artist that just wants to make money. Right? And con artist, it comes from confidence, man. So all they're selling you on is their confidence. If their product or service doesn't help you solve a problem in your life, or it doesn't exist, that's a con, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And so the real difference is that the way I want people to think about sales is that the only purpose you have to the person you're talking to in that moment is to help them make a decision. If they're talking to you about your product or service, they've shown you that they're interested. So they want to move forward with something. But you've got to be okay with letting them move forward with saying no.
Right.
Especially when you know what you have isn't the right fit for them.
Yeah.
And so it's all about that. Just help them make a decision, and remember that you're solving a problem in their life of some sort. I don't care if it's you're selling notebooks. The problem is they need some paper, right? You
Yeah.
sell water. The problem is they're thirsty. When I sold cars, the problem is they wanted a new car. But when you come from that place, it's a different experience.
Yeah.
Right.
And so just think of it that way. But the other part is that I would say every human being on this planet is in sales. Whether or not they're just simply selling themselves on what they want to eat for breakfast, or in a job interview selling who they are to a potential employer, or selling an idea to somebody else. You are always selling something.
And
Yeah.
the product is the key piece, right? For me in sales, I've been in sales for a while. I'm a small business owner in many businesses, and sales is just, I don't know, it gets to be a natural thing, but it's the product too, right? The product is what sells the person because of its appeal, because of what it does for them. And then it's just your job to guide them to that understanding. Did I get that right?
Yeah. I think the product or service it needs to be valid.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I really believe is what sells them on it is what they feel about who they're going to become, or what they're going to get, or how life's going to change, or what from that. Like, think about like a Coca-Cola commercial, right? It's always about the good vibes and energy and feel about being with friends and sharing a Coke, right? And it's the same thing if you think about your product. Like, when I talk to people about the fact that when I'm talking to them about sales specifically, it's like what I'm really going to do for them is I'm going to help them heal some really deep core wounds around not being worthy, fear of rejection, about thinking that they're not good enough. And I'm going to change that for them so that they can change their life and help more people change theirs. My vehicle is sales when it comes to the training part of it. But it's not my product. It isn't really what it is. It's the result they get. That's what people want to know.
Right.
It's all about the feeling.
Yeah. In fact, I had a friend, Todd, you may remember Michael's son. He was, when you asked him what he did, he said, I help people to manage their medication. Wait, what? Well, he was a pharmacist. He was a pharmacist, but when he put it in a way that actually gives you the result, it was far different than just saying, I'm a pharmacist, because the conversation stops at that point. Oh, I know what you do. You count drugs,
Right?
You fill prescriptions, but that's not really what he does. He was able to see the outcome is that I help people manage their medications.
Yeah.
Wow. That taught me such a valuable lesson about just the simple words that we use that are going to, as you say, help people to solve a problem, or to get what they want, or to understand their own power of, their mission or purpose or whatever, and how they can make that happen. So I do understand that part of sales. Absolutely.
So now, what about marketing? Did we talk about marketing a little bit? What are some of your success philosophies around marketing?
Well,
besides Google ads.
It's number one, like when you're doing any online marketing, I can tell you this much for sure: never, ever let your data live with anybody else. Right. So if when you're using, this is one of the reasons that we can be successful when we use the Google AdWords with our clients, is that it's once we get them to click on that one thing and they're going to get something, but they're going to give us their contact info. And then that will allow us to own that data. Now we'll feed them into Facebook groups, and then we feed them with the good things we're doing with the other people coming in and sharing their experience with it. But it's not about just asking people to buy from you all the time. Like, it's one of those things, like, you ever think about like how many times you get, like, you see some marketing or someone will send you a message And then the next one is just about buy from me, buy from me, buy from me. And it's almost like if you went out on a first date and said, hey, will you marry me? I mean, you're just going to have horrible success.
Yeah.
You have to give without the expectation of getting. And marketing is meant to do that by pulling the people in you want, but pushing away the people you don't. Right. So but you just give, feed, teach. Like the posts that people put out there that are all about buying from them, they get the least traction on social media. Right. But just sharing things are the ones that get the most. People want to connect with you. So whatever your personality is in your business, make that part of your business's personality. Don't think you have to be corporate if you're not that kind of person. I wear a suit because I feel good wearing a suit. I don't wear a suit because I want other people to think of me in a certain way. So be you. If you is flip-flops, t-shirt, and a pair of shorts every day, do that. If you're funny and cute about the way that you act and show up in the world, make your marketing do the same for you, because it needs to feel like you, not like what you think people want to see.
A facade, right? A fake layer of an onion or something along those lines. No, I totally get it.
So that means having someone help you with that then, right? Go ahead, Todd.
I was just saying,
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, then you have to maintain that, right, Joe? You have to always go around, and it's not natural, and you're not really being you, but yet you have to maintain this falsehood, and that's a lot of stress.
Oh, it is so much stress. So much stress. You know, for the longest time, one of the things that was hard for me in my personal life and in professional life was to truly be vulnerable with people, to let them see all the different parts of me. And I realized, this is very recent, that I finally fully understood why I was always so gravitated towards being in sales, is that it was the one place I could be as vulnerable as possible without me thinking about it as a weakness. Because you have to be in sales. You don't have a choice. You're going to get told no more than you get told yes. And you have to become comfortable with all of that.
Sure.
And so I realized, wow, that was where I could be as vulnerable as possible without that whole idea of it being weak. But being vulnerable and allowing people to see who you really are, all of who you are, is real strength.
Right.
So yeah, when you have to compartmentalize like that, it can be a problem later in life.
Right. Just another thing you have to manage.
Well, so do you suggest then that, I mean, how do you find someone then to help you with that marketing plan, who really sees your vision and who isn't going to necessarily put out, false words or advertisements that don't
period.
who you are? Yeah, if you want to stay authentic, then you've got to be strong enough to say, no, that doesn't sound like me. But are there marketers out there who are willing to help you to actually be you, rather than do what always done or do what's trendy now? Because I think of marketing funnels, and as a nonprofit, they've never worked for me. Marketing funnels do not work for me, and I don't know if they work for everybody. Some people would claim they're awesome, but I've never had the benefit of knowing that they're good. But so I'm just wondering if how hard is it for someone, a business owner, to stay authentic when someone else is telling them, no, this is the trendy thing to do now?
Well, that is a great question, Jackie. And the thing with it is that you have to be like relentless in knowing what you're like, of only accepting what you know is what you need it to be. Right. And so you have to be willing to tell them, no, you're not doing that. I'm not, that's not the way I want my business to be put out there. That's not what I want us to use. But if you really think about a funnel in the terms of what marketing really is, not just like a click funnels or a groove funnels or a whatever funnels pages that you're using, a funnel has been in existence since the beginning of people doing any commodity trading or business. It started with somebody standing there saying, I have this food, you want to buy it? And then people coming over and talking. And then the community grew. Now, we didn't have databases and emails and all that stuff at one point. But if you think of it the same way as your funnel in and of itself starts with you getting the message out there. And however you bring people in through that journey that choose to want to engage in it with you, you don't need to follow the trends. You got to be you.
Yeah.
And I know there's certain marketing copy that is going to elicit certain emotional responses in people that are looking for certain things. Cool. But if that's not what you want, then don't do it. The other part is, like, you can not do a marketing company. You could hire a virtual assistant and then work with them to craft the messages the way that you know you want them. And then once they understand it, they can start crafting them for you. And then all you have to do is read it over for final approval until you're comfortable enough with letting them take over. I think that's another great way of doing it if you want to have it more controlled by you, but eventually let it go to someone who knows your voice. Because a lot of marketing companies are going to just boilerplate it for you. I went down that road once with a company and lost almost $36,000 because we were in a contract for a year and I didn't get anything out of it. You know, when I was managing my own Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, not knowing a thing about what I was doing, I got way more traction than they ever got, making it look all nice and corporate.
Right.
Interesting. So what else are we missing about success? Is there anything else that comes to your mind that we can share with our listeners? Success, mindset, purpose, principles?
You know, I mean, you know, one of the things, like even like in my chapter in Be a Success Maverick, it is called Be Relentless.
Oh,
like,
right. That's great.
Look, the universe does not give in to quitters. It just doesn't. Like it's going to test you to make sure you're that committed before it gives you its rewards. But it will also pay you whatever you ask of it.
Mm-hmm. You have a great
if you mean it.
You have a great story about that when you were first starting out. What did it take you? 21 days, but you were relentless. Maybe you could share that with us.
Yeah, you know, I mean, like I said, I love wearing a suit. I've always loved suits. And so when I was at a house party at 19, at the time I was on unemployment, or in Michigan, they called it unenjoyment. But I worked outside doing irrigation. And so you can't dig holes in the ground in the wintertime, but I'm there and I see a young man about my age.
You can't do it with a suit on.
No, you can't. You definitely, not even in the summertime, you're not doing that in a suit. That's for sure. So, but I saw a gentleman at a party and he was in a suit and he was about my age. So I just had to walk up. I'd never seen him before. He was a friend of a friend. And I was like, hey man, what do you do? And he told me he worked at a company called Art Van Furniture. And as we talked more, he's like, hey, you got a great personality. You should apply. And I'm like, do they hire people with no experience? He said, well, they hired me. I was like, well, okay, then I'll do it. And I got the interview. Now, I didn't own a suit at the time, so I had to go and get a suit from a place called Value City, which is like, you know, last year's model of everything that the stores are basically throwing away, but they buy them so they can sell them.
Right.
And so I got that and went in, had my interview, and you know, the manager Mitch said, hey, you know, great personality, but wrong time of year for us to hire somebody with zero experience. It's slow, and I don't want to set you up for failure. Mm-hmm. But if you check back with us, we'll keep your resume on file. And I just was like, I'm not going to take that as the answer. And I just knew, like, deep down inside, I was going to be good at it and I wanted to work there. So I asked my mom at the time to if she could drive me there every single morning. Because again, unemployment for me at that time was like $110 a week before taxes. So I couldn't afford to do anything. And so I'm like, well, I can't afford the gas back and forth every day, but Mitch likes this coffee from the local gas station. And it's like during the winter in Michigan, it was like 50 cents a cup. So I'm like, but I can afford 2 cups of coffee. Because let's be real, if I just showed up with one, that would have looked really bad. Right? That would have looked like I'm just bringing you a cup of coffee. But it looked like, well, since I'm already grabbing one for myself and I'm coming by, maybe it'd be better in my own head. And so I showed up every morning. It was a Wednesday when I had my interview. I showed up that Thursday morning, walked in, asked for Mitch, saw him, just handed him the cup of coffee, said, "Hey, Mitch, anything changed yet?" He said, "No." I said, "Thanks." Turned around and walked out. And I did that every morning for 21 straight days.
Wow.
And on that 21st day, he snatched that cup of coffee out of my hand pretty quickly and said, "Let me guess, anything changed yet? Look, if you're going to work this hard to get the job, there's no way you're not going to be successful at it. So you're hired and come back Monday. But I swear to God, if you come back before Monday, you're fired."
That's such a great story. But it proved your point, right? You showed an effort. You were relentless. You knew you could do it. You knew you'd be good at it, and you just needed to prove that.
Yeah. And you just got to take the chance of looking foolish. Like,
Yeah.
I guarantee you, everybody there thought I was crazy.
Well, yeah,
I
but
mean,
you wouldn't have done that for a job that you didn't really want. Right?
True. Oh, absolutely not. No, of course not.
Yeah.
I'm not going to relentlessly pursue something I don't want.
Well, there's
Right.
that desire, right? That's something we really haven't talked about. It's that desire for that thing or that job in your case. That desire.
For me,
plays
I
a
think
key
it was really
part.
the desire to do something more.
Mm.
My dad worked for General Motors. He worked third shift on the assembly line. Almost everybody in my family did some kind of manual labor. And I always had this idea that I didn't want that. I knew there was something else for me to do. And I saw that as the opportunity to make that happen. And I'm glad I did, because it's been pretty good.
Been a
I
heck
mean,
of a
it's
ride.
been now 21 years.
Yeah. Were your parents immigrants to this country then?
My father was an immigrant from Lebanon, immigrated here in 1973.
Okay. So most immigrants I know or am aware of come with great work ethic.
Yeah.
They understand that they have to work hard to get ahead. And
Oh yeah, he worked third shift and reffed soccer games all summer long, and then fixed our cars, and did all the house, fixing anything around the house, mowing the lawn. He did everything. Everything. He sacrificed all kinds of stuff so that my sister and I could have a better life. And I got to see that. I'm grateful for that. Because it was nothing for me when I got into a commission only sales job where it's like, okay, cool. So you need me to work 6 days a week? No problem. 12-hour days? No problem.
Wow.
Because it was just like, he was doing it while doing manual labor. I think I can do it while I'm just talking to people.
Yeah. Well, so that brings up another point to me then. How do you reconcile hard work with the positive attitude? Because a lot of people see the word work and then you add in hard work, and that doesn't typically lend itself to feeling happy about it. But you've obviously been able to conquer that. So is it because you have to learn how to love work, or is there something else?
Find something you love that is work, and it will never be work.
It's true.
Right? I'm not going to say that you got to learn to love work, because that's not necessarily what for me, it was, I love helping people. And for me, being in sales is nothing but helping people. And so I get a chance to do that and meet new people constantly. Like that for me was a no-brainer. So I was in love with it almost immediately. But nothing worth doing in life, truly, of any notable or noble cause or grandiose idea, is going to be easy, or everybody on this planet would do it. So you got to know that it's going to take effort. And when you can just find ways of finding joy in the process of it, it's easier. Hard work pays off, and working really, really hard always pays off. Like there's no way around it. Like I said, the universe doesn't give in to quitters. And if you outwork other people, you're going to do more than other people. It's okay. But also know what you want. Like if you're happy, if your level of happiness for success is making $35,000 a year and playing softball on the weekends, then be happy with that. And don't worry about somebody else who wants $2 million a year in a private jet. You need to be what it is for you.
Right.
All right. So whatever that is for you, then find a way to find something you love that you can get paid to do.
Nice.
Oh my goodness, my friends, it looks like we only have about 4 minutes left. This hour just flew by. Thank you so much, Joe. Is there anything we missed? Anything come to your mind that we can put out there in the universe for our listeners about success?
And be sure to tell them where they can contact you. And
Oh, absolutely. Look, here's the cool part. So if you Google Mr. AllWaysGood, AllWaysGood, I guarantee you cannot miss me. I am the whole page. It is what it is, right? I do, like you guys know, I'm on a lot of podcasts. I do a lot of things. I'm out and about. I make sure that Google loves me. So you can find me there, or Joe at AllWaysGood, AllWaysGood. Either way, you can find me on Facebook and LinkedIn as well. So that's easy. I'm kind of hard to miss. But the only thing that I want to say to leave anybody with that's listening to this, like right now or later listening to the replays, when you hear this, just want you to close your eyes and think about it for a deep moment. You get to choose what your definition of success is.
For you. Yep.
For you, yes. And I'm going to give you mine. And if it helps you, take it. And you don't have to tell anybody you got it from me. Just use it. But I have one definition for success in life, and that is, am I happy? And because I am successful. That's it. Success to me is happiness.
Yeah,
and I am a happy person, so I'm successful. The rest of it is just the fun part.
yeah.
It's not all about money, right? It's love, relationship.
No.
Yeah, all that stuff.
But if you want to make a lot of money, please make a lot of money. Right? It just please don't love money above all else. That's the other thing. The love of money is the root of all evil is a false statement. We've removed words that are so important. It's the love of money above all else. That is the root of all evil. You can love money and love a lot of things more. And it's not going to be the root of evil for you. But yeah.
Great analogy. Well, thanks so much, Joe, for showing up as you today. I really appreciate. Did you have a blast?
Of course I had a blast. This was great. I love being able to have conversations like this and share time with amazing people.
Yeah, thank you. So, Jackie, any takeaways? Did you get any nuggets today? Or
Well, of course. I mean, I'm in business. You're in business. Most people are in business because we're all in sales, right, Joe? Even if we're not entrepreneurial or have or own a business, we are in the business of selling ourselves, selling our mission, selling help that we can give to other people. And so I've gotten a lot from this today, and I appreciate it. For me, I'm always challenged with the positive mindset because I came from a lack mindset, how it's been ingrained in me. So that's always a challenge. And every guest we have helps me feel a little bit more. So I appreciate, Joe, all that you've helped me feel today. Very, very much.
Thanks again, Joe. Yeah. Namaste, my friend. You're an awesome dude. I hope you'll come back because I think there's so much more that we could talk about.
Oh, I would love to.
That's about all we have time for today. I hope you enjoyed the show. My biggest hope is that you would tell a friend about the show. We don't telephone people anywhere. You got to tell a friend. Hey, I heard this really cool show and these really cool people and they have some really cool guests. Please, please, please tell a friend. Check out the website. Jackie's blog post about this show will be up. We have a YouTube channel. All of our shows end up on YouTube, so you can rewatch them, or if you miss one, check it out. Lastly, here's the deal. Please, please, please make it a great day, because just like you heard, it's all about choice. Bye-bye for now.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you for tuning in to Life Mastery Radio. Join Todd Allen and Jackie Bailey and their guests of leading authors, speakers, coaches, and entrepreneurs weekly at 10 a.m. Pacific. Learn to live a peaceful life with intentional mastery through stories and messages to support your well-being and most evocative dreams. Visit their website, www.lifemasteryradio.com. Join their mailing list and be notified about upcoming guests. That's lifemasteryradio.com.